Now we're
Brian.
recording. And you will be forever on my YouTube. Wait till you hear
There we
this
go,
guy's
he's checking in.
Okay, we're ready to go.
And she shoots.
She can shoot.
She can shoot.
Oh,
I was
she
thinking
can.
she shoots now.
I do. But she can't.
Is this one of those tongue twister exercises?
No.
She shoots shells at the seashore.
Oh, she sells seashells down by the seashore.
I'm an auctioneer, and some of the training I had to
There you
through was
go.
pretty much a lot of tongue twisters. And they're good at it.
I like that.
Yeah. Okay, we're ready to put some fun in this way.
Alrighty. Well, hello there. Thank you so much for sharing your valuable lunch hour with us. You're listening to Susan Hamilton and the Offbeat Business Show. 4 times a year we make a big deal out of our veterans. And whether that's showing business spotlights or whether that's showing resources, we think that's a really big deal because we represent the 80% of American small business that tend to be family-owned businesses of 9 employees or less. That means, friends, we recognize that you're building your business while you're raising your kids. You're taking care of your parents. You probably have a veteran in your family or your workspace, and 30% of us have an addict in our family or our workspace. And I think that's so, so important today as we talk to Samantha Horwitz. And I don't know, did you want me to call you Sam or
Sam's
Samantha?
great.
Because I noticed everybody calls you Sam.
Everybody calls me Sam.
And I
I'm
love
only called
that.
Samantha. Usually it's by my mom, and it's because I'm in trouble for something. So let's go with Sam.
That's wonderful. Sam is somebody you're really going to enjoy, friends, especially if you're here in the DFW area, because she brings us a little taste of the Northeast. She was actually in one of the Twin Towers when they went down on 9/11 and shares a very impactful story. And on top of that, these days, uses her history with the Secret Service and through working with our first responders is helping us understand, how to shoot guns, how to stand in courage, how to get over PTSD. It's a huge, huge effort that she's undertaking, and I'm very excited to share her with you and have this conversation. Samantha, welcome.
Oh.
Sam, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's
See how we do.
wonderful to be with you today.
So, what a wild story you've got, and I was really honored to hear you present that when I watched that video earlier to really try and get a grip of what you were doing, because as I explored your name through social media, I recognized, oh, you are a courage consultant. That's pretty fascinating. I love that. I love how you take your strength and you stand in that, and you realize what that is that you're bringing to us. We're not very courageous these days. We can use that.
This is true. I think we all have courage inside of us.
Yes.
Through whatever a trauma or some incident. I think we suppress it, and some people do it just to kind of figure out where they are, so they take a huge step back in putting themselves out there. And I certainly understand that.
Sure.
Some people just one day wake up and we're like, where'd my courage go? I'm lost. Help. They don't know where to reach out. That's where Courage Above All comes in. And some people, it's just, they'll tell me I've never had courage. I don't believe that. And
right.
I help them see, navigate through what courage is really about. And they see, oh my gosh, it's always been there.
Oh wow, help us understand that. Talk that through a little bit.
It's, when you go through, I'll take what I went through, the traumatic incident of being in Tower 1 when the plane hit it on 9/11. It changes, that experience, that kind of experience, it changed me. I was a Secret Service agent, and I found myself waking up every day questioning every decision that used to come like that.
Yeah.
And that was not something that was normal.
And you're so young.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Seriously, I'm in my mid-40s.
You kind of think as you get older,
Yeah.
maybe I'll have those types of issues, but at your age, it had to be kind of scary.
Yeah, I was 29, going on 30. And
Wow.
So everything that I knew that flowed, had a flow to life. I was on top of the world, felt like I could do anything. So I would say, our courage meter, way high up there, way high.
A courage meter.
A
I
courage
really,
meter,
really like that.
absolutely. And then all of a sudden it wasn't. When you start questioning yourself on every single thing that you do that is familiar to you every day, that makes you take a step back. And for me, it culminated into me not being able to do my job anymore.
Yeah.
And I was one of 8 agents to leave. The Secret Service resigned my position in 1 month, which is unprecedented.
Yeah.
And once you're an agent, that's life, you know. And so what I had to do, and what I teach people, is that the courage, it's always there. We go through stages in our life where it's up here, like mine was, and maybe it's down here, and then maybe we get it back here, maybe it falls down. The whole point is the more you keep getting up when something knocks you down, that's when you start grabbing onto, well, how did I get through what happened to me?
That's interesting, because what you're describing is that the peaks and valleys that a lot of times, we call that our comfort zone, right? I mean, if you looked at all the wonderful things that ever happened to you, you've got,
Yeah.
you're going to gauge it up here. You've got a lot of times when lots of rotten things happen to you, and it's down here. And somehow operating in between that is, it's not really comfortable to be in your comfort zone, except when you realize you can't. You want more. You want to get out of that, and you can't, and you've made these barriers for yourself.
Yeah, it's learning when you're down in the valley. It's learning to recognize, first of all, that you're there, that it's okay to be there, and understanding that you're going to get back up. And with Courage Above All, our online network that we work with, I help people, most of them that are in that valley, whether it's post-traumatic stress or something else, and to tell them it's okay. You're where you are right now, and it's okay.
So if it's not post-traumatic stress, what other reasons do you think we struggle with our courage?
Oh, I think it goes to, I was a business owner. I owned a franchise way back when, and within a year it went under, lost everything, my husband and I, that we put into that, all of our savings and everything.
This is familiar, isn't it?
Yes, this is very familiar. Business owners out there. And so grasping onto, oh my God, I just failed, my business went under. We now have this word failure in our vocabulary, and we tend to say, I'm a failure, or I'm not courageous, something like that. And once we make that connection, it tends to stay with us. And what we need to do is, again, you're not that word. It's something that happened to you. Let's work together, because you can
And
rise
actually,
again.
the fact that it happened to you sets you up for success, because
It
you are
does.
not going to be successful if you don't have any failures under your belt.
You got it. You got it. Absolutely. I don't know any successful business person that hasn't gone through, their share of hard knocks.
But
for
being
sure.
able to see past it and get to, I think you were onto something when initially you were saying you got to remember what got you up before. You got to remember where those peaks were and really cling to that, because if you've been up before, you can get up again. But surrounding yourself with the people that really help hold you up through that, I think is really huge. If you are not around anybody that helps you see the other side of that, you can really stay in that dark space.
Mired in your crap.
Mired in your crap.
That's what I'm going to say, mired in your crap. It's okay to be mired in your crap, by the way. You just can't stay there forever. It is, and what you do here is so key, bringing community together, bringing people together, because it's together that all ships rise, right?
And we're all building our ships while they're still on the water. I mean, we think everything's going to
There
be
you go.
perfect
There
one
you go.
day. And those were wise words with my first mentor that helped me see, wow. I was waiting for my tornado to stop turning before then it's going to look like this. When the tornado is over, it's going to look like this.
Right.
That doesn't ever happen. It's
No.
there is constantly moving. There's people. Because we're not alone. Like you said, you could call it community, but we also have families.
Right.
We're also very connected to if you're not in business by yourself, you're not in business in a vacuum. You're connected to every other
Exactly.
business that you work with. If you're not developing those relationships, it's a huge mistake. I hope that you are. And there, is that risky? Yes, it is. Relationships are risky, but we've got to be able to step out there because we, in the long run, are being able to encourage someone else.
Right.
One day we never know when we're going to need it, and I promise you, we're going to need it.
Absolutely.
We're going to need
You
it.
got that right. It's also a key distinction in what you just said in building the ship. It's what goes on behind the scenes because everybody sees, just like they're seeing, hello, us here. That
our video
this is like
behind the scenes. Yeah.
This is the behind the scenes. This is the product, and people are gonna look at it. Oh my God, they're so great together on the air. Blah blah blah. How they must be professionals. No, but there's things.
We're just on camera.
Exactly, that we did behind
Yeah.
the scenes, just like being a Secret Service agent. I mean, everybody sees the dark suits, the really dark sunglasses.
That's true.
But
We have an idea of what that is, and we
Yes.
have this idea that you've got it. And your training is extensive. I mean, that's not a
That's the
small
behind the
thing.
scenes part.
Yeah.
That because you can stand up there out front, look impenetrable.
Look
and,
impenetrable.
Yes, and
Love
do
that.
your job.
You do too. You guys look impenetrable.
Yeah, we have a look. Oh, we do. My glasses are over there. But it's what we cultivate behind the scenes is why we operate the way we do in public. So with Courage Above All, with my book, everything, it's like, oh my God, you've done all these amazing things, and how'd you do it? Well, let me bring you into my behind the scenes, and that's a whole process. So when people see a successful person, I want to be that. They do this comparison thing.
Mm-hmm.
I certainly did it when I was trying to get well. How do I get to be like that person who got over their post-traumatic stress? I want that, and I want it right now, because we're impatient, right?
Oh yes.
Right? Let's be real.
Oh yes, fix me now.
Let's be real.
Let me see the other side of it. That's really amazing, and I'm thrilled that you took the time to put that into a book. I agree. I think that we're at that stage in our life where we're so busy seeing. We've got information inundation. Really, we're just overwhelmed with the amount of, and everybody else is mired crap. By the way, we think we're in some, but we expose ourselves to that every day, especially if we're in business, because you have to be in social media anymore. You have to be able to use those airwaves wisely. Well, at the same time, you can really inflict a lot on yourself and get overwhelmed. And there's so much of it I think that we're kind of sick of seeing the top. The front, the shiny. I think it's time to see
The real.
what's going on back here, because we have much more in common than we believe. We really do, and I think there's a lot of strength in that commonality, and I really love opportunities where we can explore that.
Absolutely, and it comes from people like you and I deciding we're getting in the trenches with folks.
Yeah, it's time to roll up the sleeves, it's elbows, here we go.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Friends, I hope you're enjoying talking with Sam as much as I am. We are about to go to break, and you're going to hear from some of our sponsors. And when we get back, we're going to continue this conversation, because courage above all is not all that Sam Horwitz is up to. And we've got so much more to share with you right after this.
Looking good. Everything's peaking just fine. Comfortable?
Good. Thank you.
Did you?
She's a natural. She keeps looking over at the camera.
I'm taking cues from my coach here.
I'm just going to change positions and be over here so I can get some shots of you
Okay.
as well as her.
Well, did you want to do that now before they roll again?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, so courage above all, and all of these things are going to be underneath this YouTube channel. We're going to have all of your information, all your links to your websites. So so that they will be able to follow up with you when they see this video. All year long, our social agency is going to share this. You'll be part of something that we share on an ongoing basis through Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn. Yeah, so you're going to be able to get the word out here and really stretch that. And anyone that hears this at any point is going to be able to see all the information like that, because after Raul gives me the recording, you also have a podcast page on our website that has the video, it has anything that you want to share. You know, if you decide that you want to put together, you've got advertising out there, something that you need to shed attention, make sure I know about that, because we can update that information. You'll have the link and you can use it as you please. So it's really a great way to leverage the airwaves like you need to be doing. You'll notice we're sitting here and we're Scott Peak Photography. Yes, I've got Scott Peak is running around here taking pictures. He did at the outset, but we'll get him to stick his face in the camera, because I want you to know just how easy it is to really start taking advantage of digital media, friends. We talk about this all the time. This is being recorded on our iPad. Very simple, little simple setup. It's hooked onto the desk, and I'm using a little get-up I got from Joy Factory, joyfactory.com, but you can also get a stand for your iPad or your notebook, even from Guitar Center. So that's real easy to go ahead and get that kind of stuff.
That would make a good picture of the two of you looking at you.
So no, she's too close right now. So
Way too much.
You look at her and you just have a conversation real quick, so I can get you
Okay.
actually speaking.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Okay, now I
Just
see
So
what he
talk
this
about
is
something else.
us. This is us making like we're
She
having a
sells
conversation,
shotguns down
even
by
though
the
we
seashore.
were having a conversation. And our video audience gets to realize that sometimes we fake having conversations just for
Yes.
pictures.
we do.
That's hilarious.
But I want her speaking.
You know, please speak.
Oh, okay. Yes, thank you, Scott, so much for doing what you do. Really appreciate Scott Peak Photography, everybody.
There it is.
So give a plug there.
See, now I don't get stuck over here.
Oh, there he is. He's peeking.
And the voice you hear from behind the scenes is Raul Enriquez with Pegasus NetWaves. He's our producer, doing that fantastic job in making sure our professionally produced audio goes off without a hitch, and hooks up our sponsors and makes sure that when this show goes out, so does all our sponsor information. Are we ready?
We're ready.
Here we go.
All right, let's put some gin in this tonic.
And we're back. This is Susan Hamilton. You're listening to the Offbeat Business Show, and I'm talking with Sam Horwitz, and we are talking about the different things that she's been exposed to after her wild ordeal as a Secret Service agent, trapped in the Twin Towers, Tower 1, and then getting out, and consequently really having a bout with PTS, which she's changing, and I think we all need to embrace that. Instead of the PTSD, PTS.
Yeah.
Help us understand the difference, Sam.
You know, through working not only through my own stuff, but with a lot of organizations now, what we want to do is take that D, the disorder, off of the post-traumatic stress. So most people know it, just as I learned it, post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD.
Right.
Because of so many amazing people out there, both that are clinical specialists and not. So across the board, realizing that, you know, it is something that you can get through. And with the right tools, the right clinicians if you need, that disorder part, it's not you. It doesn't define who you are.
I think that's beautiful. That's a beautiful distinction. You're right. The disorder makes us feel like, well, let's face it, we're all a little disorderly. We've got some disorder going on. I mean, that
We have kids, right?
Yeah,
Let's be real.
we have actual lives, and
Yeah.
that stuff happens. But you're right. I mean, post-traumatic stress allows us to say this happened to me. This doesn't define me, as you mentioned, and I really love that. So help us understand what you're doing with this new endeavor, because I tried to look it up, and as you told me, that right now this website is not live. I will still have that link available to you, because maybe by the time you see it, one of you will have stepped up and reached out to Sam Horwitz. Are you on
Facebook.
LinkedIn? Okay.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn,
Wonderful.
Facebook.
Yeah, you need
Twitter.
She needs somebody to go ahead and design this for her because she's got her hands in so many things. To help us understand what the goal is behind Heroes for Healing.
That's right. Well, it is. It's a labor of love. For any of you who are running nonprofits or thinking about it, you know what that's about. I did not expect to have this come about. As I started the 5th time sitting down to write my book, which is called The Silent Fall. It's coming out. We're going to print in about 2 weeks.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And it chronicles, I will take you through my day on 9/11 from the minute I leave my front door.
You know we all want to read this.
to
We
be-
all cannot wait to read her idea and her experience.
Yeah,
Yes.
it really is an inside view, and being trapped in the elevator in Tower 1, excuse me, and then and then getting out and what happened that day, and then I take you down my journey with PTS, and then me coming back out the other side for better, and that is where Heroes for Healing was born.
Okay.
Like I said, I never intended on creating a program like this, peer support, where not only are we working with current and former law enforcement, but as current and former members of our military, firefighters, and first responders. Because PTS doesn't discriminate, and whether it's one traumatic event or what we are learning, it's cumulative.
Oh, interesting. Talk to that.
So, the firefighters and police officers that I've spoken to, what they tell me is it's never one incident. Normally, it involves a child, whether it's a drowning or a really bad accident. So they have that initial trauma of seeing whatever the carnage is,
Right.
or the death, and they compartmentalize it. Our brains, fight or flight, that's our survival instinct. Our brain compartmentalizes it. And in law enforcement and firefighting, it's not, you don't just go to one fire and then you're done with your career. You don't just respond to one accident as a law enforcement officer or make one arrest. It's over and over and over and over again.
Why do we think that our first responders, that there's just some people built for that? I mean, that sounds
that's a
to
persona.
me, isn't
That's
it?
how we're trained.
That sounds to
Yeah.
me like everyone who does these types of jobs, they're at risk of it, or is everyone at some level actually experiencing PTS?
I would say, first of all, the training that we receive is not. We're not normal people that go into these lines of work
Right,
first out. Our heart is all about service and giving all of us to save the life of somebody else, whatever that looks like. So we're not cut, I believe, from the same cloth.
I don't think so either.
And in our training, it's almost a desensitization process. For me in Secret
Okay, I
Service,
can understand
we're going through practicing protecting movements with stuff exploding around us. So we become desensitized to the stuff, the explosions going on around us, because our ultimate goal is what? To get the protectee to a safe place. That's the end goal. So get rid of all this, focus on this, we reach our end goal. What the brain is doing, though, it's taking everything in, compartmentalizing it, and then maybe that day, so for me it was that day that I started experiencing symptoms. I didn't know what it was, but it could be an incident a week from then. Some I've talked to police officers, 5 or 10 years went by. I talked to one officer who's retired now, who watched his partner he worked undercover be murdered right in front of him. What did he do? He didn't talk to anybody. He put himself on desk duty, on traffic eventually, and it wasn't until another incident 10 years after the original trauma
I know something.
that it came pouring out.
So he thought that he's doing everything he needs to do. He's backing up. He's going to desk duty. He's going, wow, I know
He's
I saw
going to
something
work,
tough, you know, but I can handle this. I can swing this.
Absolutely.
But, you know, we've all, you know, we are human, and there's that part of us that we think we're brick stone, and we're not.
This ultimately,
Yeah.
our brain will tell us, hey, something's desperately wrong here. And the more you ignore and I'll say go quiet, the longer and harder it is to get back to you.
It's interesting that it's the brain as well,
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, as a woman I've seen a lot of trauma. I've seen my kids go through a lot. A lot of times when I'm looking at my life or describing my life, it's like machine gun bullets to the chest that I feel like I've walked through my whole life. And I help it with when I'm working in the prison system. I see that. I see other women in those situations too. Only things are even worse. They can't reach out. They've got themselves in these situations where they've really done something stupid or lived a lifestyle that was really dangerous, you know. And there's a heart thought, you know, and this idea that it's really, you know, it's a heart, it's a bruising, but that's an emotional side of it. But there's actually a physical brain side of it that I think is so interesting, because our brain it's a fascinating
Yes, it is.
thing, and what it chooses to remember when and how it fires actually impacts your heart, actually
Yeah.
impacts how all of your emotions run.
How you live.
Yeah.
How you live. It was a New Year's Eve, and I decided that I didn't want to start another year the way I had lived the previous one, and I didn't know any other way out than grabbing my firearm and killing myself. That's what I thought would take away the pain, everything that was going on. Because it got to a point where I was trying to figure it out. Like I said, I'm trained that way, and I couldn't do it. Not because I wasn't capable, but because my brain wasn't operating, allowing me to do that. It was all protection mode, operating pure adrenaline all the time. And it hurt, and it hurt a lot. And by the grace of God, I truly believe, sitting there with the gun pressed against my head, and I'm pressing on that trigger, a voice said, "Sam, it's not your time." And at first, you know, I had drunk a lot, and I was like, oh my God, is somebody in the room here with me? And I truly believe it was God saying it's not your time. I didn't understand, you know, what that meant. I'm like, well, great, well now what am I supposed to do since it's not my time? And I just stayed angry and again tried to figure things out.
Wow. So now here you are.
Yeah.
You've been you spared your life, but
Yeah.
you're like, that's not a gift.
Right.
I'm
No,
not
it
loving
wasn't.
this experience.
It wasn't, and
Wow.
it was not until really sitting down and starting the process of writing the book that I was invited to a very special church service, and it was a Vietnam veteran who had been burned over 90% of his body. I mean, he was not expected to survive, and he's gone on to do amazing things. And he said, and I will never forget, you know, because he talked about the same things, just wanting to give up. He had had enough, the pain. That God could trust him with the scars. And it was like, bam. That was what I needed to hear. And I believe that everything that I went through, God trusts me to be here with you, to do the things that we're doing with Heroes for Healing, reaching out into the community and helping people, because now I can talk about my stuff. And my partners who are involved in it, Dr. Mike McShane and Lloyd.
Very cool.
Yep. These guys have gone through their PTS. Dr. Mike, Vietnam veteran. Lloyd is a 10-year Army veteran, 2 tours in Afghanistan. Our wars were different, our traumas were different, symptomology the same. So we know we can help.
Thank you so much, Sam. Thank you that you didn't pull that trigger. Thank you that you're sitting here today and you were willing to work that out, because I do believe that your story is saving lives. we need to know that when we're feeling all alone, that there is somebody out there that felt like that too and made it, and that there is another side to it if we can just get past it. Because had you done that, the pain that would have been inflicted on the entire family and on the community, on everyone that ever met you, because your spirit is just so soft. It's amazing your history. I can't wait to get to know you better, because it's fascinating, the life you've lived. And I'm going to read your book and I'm going to share it. But I'm excited about that, and your ability to share it in such a loving way and in an engaging way. You know, there's nothing intimidating or scary about talking to this woman, and you need to reach out to Sam if you're having any concerns like this, friends. It might be you as a veteran business owner. You might have someone in your family that's struggling with this. You may have someone that you work with in one of your business alliances, strategic alliances, that is, and maybe it feels just too weird to talk about it, but man, there's some distance going on, so am I right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
if you can tell that, friends, I just beg you to make a mention of this. Say, hey, you know what, I listened to this really cool interview by this lady that was actually in the Twin Towers, and she's got a story to tell, and wait till you hear it. And they may not even realize how that impacts them until after they hear that story, because I think that's fascinating. That's a wonderful approach. You get to come in and go, wow, this happened, and really it allows you, it opens the door for you to share this other part of the experience, that it was really quite traumatic.
Yeah.
You know, it was, you know.
Yeah, we'll be doing our first workshop. Thank you to 22 Kill in Addison
Wonderful.
for hosting us in September, so be on the lookout for that.
Wonderful, wonderful. So would you share those URLs with our audience, or the best way to reach out to you? How does anyone that's watching this show or listening to this show support you? How do they come alongside you and help you with your website? How do they give to this organization? How do they help you put the hands inside of it that'll cause it to really get done?
Well, thanks. You can reach me direct, which is sam@courageaboveall.com. We're on Facebook. The Heroes for Healing page is on Facebook right now. We're looking to have somebody help us with that website.
Okay.
Or you can reach me at sam@heroes4, and that's the number 4, healing.org.
Wonderful.
So,
Wonderful, wonderful. That's very exciting. Friends, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you got what you needed out of it. Please share this and make sure this word gets out. You'll find more information out about this also in our July issue. We're very excited about really learning and sharing more about this circumstance. It's great to see people that are getting back up. You don't have to get, you don't have to feel beat up, and I'm sure you do. I'm sure if you're experiencing something like this, that it hurts quite a bit, and you're feeling kind of alone. And so I just pray that you reach out to somebody, and find a way to recognize just how valuable you are, because we love you. We need you here, and we thank you for your service, no matter how you serve. And we're grateful for everything that you did. And if you're not feeling that inside, you just haven't talked to the right people, because we can't wait to tell you. Friends, you've been listening to the Offbeat Business Show. This is where we represent 80% of American small business that tend to be family-owned businesses of 9 employees or less. That means that we are building our business while we're raising our kids, taking care of our families. Most of us have a veteran in our family or our workspace. About 30% of us have an addict in our family. And by the way, PTS is absolutely a part of a lot of addictions out there. There's a lot of trauma, and I'm talking about not necessarily that they're exposed to PTS and then addiction, but you can actually give yourself a PTS using drugs, and there might be somebody in your family that's experiencing that, and you see it. They just don't think right. They're not connecting anymore. That's a damage, but it's not permanent, and there are things that you can do. So reach out. The Offbeat Business Show goes out of their way and magazine, Offbeat Business Media, all of it. We want you to be connected with each other, with the issues that really matter to us. You can find our lineup. You can find our replays. You can find our magazine. You can download our app. Find it all at offbeatbusiness.com.
Anything you'd like to add? Just making sure, like if you left something out.
Yeah.
you know
Anything you want to
what
add? You're welcome to it. He can stick it in.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn.
Wait.
Sorry, went too fast. I'm also on LinkedIn. Just reach out. I love the one-on-one contact over the phone.
Yes,
so
that's my
all my
preferred as well.
contact, is my contact numbers. But please feel free, any type of media outlet to get a hold of me. So, thanks.
Okay, I'll